Good morning, everybody. We are live from my craft room in Texas. This is Janet from Memory Bound in Iowa. And we're just going to wait a while for people to jump on before we get started. Hope everybody is ready for the weekend. We are super excited. It's Friday. It's going to be beautiful weather here in Texas. And I am looking forward to getting outside and hopefully spending some time with my daughter and maybe visiting a couple garden places. I'm very excited about that. So it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Looking forward to all of that. So welcome to everybody who's jumping on. I'm just going to take a quick look and see who do we have this morning. Jay, how many folks do we have joining us?
68 right
Oh,
now.
excellent.
73.
Excellent. It's coming up there.
75.
Hopefully everybody will be doing a little bit of crafting this weekend. And now I can see you all.
They're finding us.
Okay, good.
82.
Good morning, everybody. Beautiful in South Dakota. Well, we have to start with the weather report, right? Yeah, so I am here in my craft room in the Dallas area, and I have my handy husband on the camera, and I surely do appreciate that. I'm probably going to have to get him a coffee or something to thank him for all of his good work that he has done with me. I don't think, as I said last time, I don't think he really expected to be doing this when we moved to Texas. So I kind of snuck this in on him. So I really do appreciate that. So we've got a lot of people jumping on. Good morning. Yeah, Kelly says we're all meeting in Texas in my studio. You know, that is right. And I did at least clean up the part that you are seeing. I have a tendency to create a mess very fast. So I think it looks relatively tidy, hopefully, but know that Jay has strict orders not to focus on certain areas of the craft room that aren't quite so tidy. So I think we can go ahead and get going. So Jay, do you want to just zoom in on this project? This is what we're going to talk about today, this clipboard project and this little bonus coaster that we have. And all of the month of April, we are doing projects that really focus on remembering someone who has passed. And I just love that kind of project because like you, I have lost some people that were very special to me. And it's really nice to take a moment to remember them. And oftentimes we can create something beautiful in our crafting that is a perfect way to showcase that person. So Jay, if you want to just zoom in on this clipboard, this is what we're going to talk about in just a bit. We are launching a clipboard kit today that also includes a bonus coaster project. And I set up a little, what I would call a vignette display to show you how you could display something like this in your home. And Diane kind of got me into making vignettes. And vignettes are just simply little areas in your home that you set up a small display. And I've just pulled out a few things quickly to show what you could include in a vignette. This is a scrapbook page from one of Jay's family albums that I've been working on, and this happens to be his grandfather. And his nickname was Dutch. And this is a gentleman that Jay never met, sadly, who died before he was born. 16 years before you were born. But he has inherited so many skills from his grandpa. His grandpa was a drummer, and Jay inherited all of those drumming skills. So it's pretty cool to see the connection, even though the two of them never met. So I pulled this particular page because I thought it worked really well color-wise, and it's a very special page to us with the clipboard. And so underneath the clipboard, one of the things that you can do in a vignette is just grab an old book, and you can pick these up at thrift stores. This one happens to be a reading book from one of Jay's grandmas back in elementary school. This was her first reading book. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. And so you can just tuck something like this into a vignette too. So I've got the clipboard it is sitting on an easel. This is not the kind of easel that we sell at Memory Bound, but it's similar. A black easel I think looks really nice. And then this is a sugar jar that I picked up at a thrift store for probably $1. And I always like to incorporate older things like that into a, whoa, into, there you go, that's live TV. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that is real life, reality, oh my gosh, reality Memory Bound TV. Anyway, I like to include.
Lots of hearts and likes on
Oh my gosh, I should do that again, and I might.
Nobody noticed a thing.
All right, moving right on. I like to incorporate old things like this in my vignettes because it just, it evokes a certain time and place when you've got something old like this. And I'm always secretly scouring the thrift stores to find things like that, especially things that don't cost anything.
I know you said secretly.
Yeah, secretly. And then I always try to incorporate some type of greenery in my vignettes as well. And different heights and different colors will kind of give it a cohesive look and a nice look. So this is an example of how, if you were to make the clipboard project, how you could display this in your home. Now, before we get into this, I do want to talk a little bit about the recipe project that we showed. Golly, Jay, was that Tuesday? Yes, I think it was Tuesday. So we also launched on Tuesday a recipe memory crate, which is a wonderful way to save your family recipes. And I know a lot of us have family recipes that we keep, and we maybe don't have a spot to keep them so that they're easily accessible. These crates are a perfect way to keep them, and you can put them on your counter and actually cook from them, which is wonderful. So this is a kit that we have that is $59.99, and it incorporates a whole bunch of different elements such as recipe cards that you can write on. It's got lots of cut aparts with spaces for photos. It also has spaces for you to tell the stories that go with your recipes. And I know that you probably have stories just like I do that go with the recipe cards and the recipes that your family has passed on. So for instance, here is one about this dish. You would add the recipe on one side and then tell a little bit about it on the other side. So this is a fun project that we will actually be doing as a craft along on April 29th, I believe it is. Monday, April 29th. We'll be back in Iowa and we will be doing this project together. So
You just put a link to that.
Oh, great. Thank you,
recipe
Kelly.
crate kit.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. So if you'd like to purchase it, pick up your kit. There is a little bit of pre-work listed in your kit, in your instructions, and I went over that the other day. Now, one comment that people had from last week that I want to mention is, and it looks like Dutch has fallen down again. Sorry, Dutch. A lot of people have actual recipe cards that they want to incorporate in their project, and one of the things that you can do is you could add the actual card itself into the box so they fit nicely down into the box. Or if you're concerned about using the original, which I would be because you don't want things to get ruined or mucked up in the kitchen, which I'm quite prone to do, you could pop into Memory Bound if you're local and we can copy your recipes. And they'll look just like your grandmother's handwriting, and then you can incorporate the copy into your project. Now, if you live some distance away, you could probably even mail them to us, and we'd be happy to do that. Or you might be able to take a picture on your phone and make a copy yourself that way, and use the copy in your project. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to. I have a lot of special family memories and recipes that go together, and this is a great way to use them in a format that is easily accessible. Let me see if we have any questions before we move on.
To a calendar that shows everything you're using.
Oh, great. Great, thank you. And thanks for the comments on the vignette too. I love making vignettes. And I have to say thanks to Diane for getting me on to making vignettes. It's something that I just do now all the time. And I especially love using old things in my vignettes, you know, family heirlooms and that sort of thing. You've probably seen them all around the house, haven't you, Jay?
Yes.
And it's really fun to decorate with things that have meaning.
And they change seasonally.
They do change seasonally, or often more than that. So let me just double check that we don't have any questions about the recipe project before we move on. All right. All right, and Kelly is here in Ankeny helping take care of our linking. I hope she's got something nice and tasty to drink this morning so she can be linking and drinking. I am just scrolling through and I think we are all good. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the project for today. And to do that, I'm going to have Jay put the camera in the arm. How about that? So you want to stand by. If we have a slight delay, just bear with us. This way I won't knock anything over. We need a commercial break. We need like some, what do you call it, special interlude music. I think we are almost set up. All right, it looks like you guys can see my mat. And my husband is tangled up in the cord. How about that? So give me a thumbs up if you can see. We're going to scooch this over slightly, but I think it looks good. From my perspective, it looks good. So let me know if not. So bear with us. We are, as I said before, we are, oh, that's okay. We're all right.
That went the wrong way.
Okay, we're going to scooch the other direction. There, I think we're good. Yeah, it's good. You guys can see my coffee cup. That's important. Okay. All right, I'm going to scoot this back.
What was it now?
I think we're all set. All right. I really like this view. I think it's pretty clear and pretty easy to see what we're talking about. Okay. So let's talk about this project. So this is a clipboard project made with the collection called Remember from Simple Stories. And it is one of my all-time favorite collections that I have worked with. We are really lucky this year that we have a couple of beautiful memorial type collections that have come out. And I excuse me, had the pleasure of making projects with both lines just here this month. So it's been a real pleasure to work with such beautiful things. For the month of April, when we are focusing on remembering type projects. So let's take a look at this one. And this is a kit that we have available. If you're interested in making this, the price is $28.99. And I will tell you all the supplies that you're going to get in the kit. If you have never worked with a Tim Holtz clipboard, you will be getting a clipboard in the project. You will be getting ribbon, papers from the Remember collection. You'll get the page pieces, which are a little bit larger than ephemera, and that you can see they fit perfectly on this clipboard. So I think you'll really enjoy working with those. Plus, you'll get Color Vibe cardstock. And then since we have extra product after you finish working with the clipboard, you will have enough to put together a small coaster that works in tandem with the clipboard as part of your vignette. So I think you will really enjoy this kit. Again, it is $28.99, and Kelly has been linking it in our comments. So I think we are good to go. I want to talk about a couple of things specifically in the kit. You will get, as usual, instructions and a lot of color photos to follow along with as you go. This is a super easy project. If you've never done anything that's mixed media, this is really an easy one to get started with, and I wouldn't even really call it mixed media. It's just simply attaching paper to the clipboard and then adding in your ephemera. So if you're a card maker or scrapbooker, this is right up your alley. You've got all the skills you need to do this. So nothing fancy at all. You've got 2 pages of instructions. Yours are full color that will guide you all the way. But I wanted to mention a couple of things that might be new to you if you've never worked with a Tim Holtz clipboard before. And I've got one here that is brand new just to show you. One of the benefits of the Tim Holtz clipboard is that you can remove this whole mechanism at the top in order to put paper on your clipboard. And you can see in my project, the entire surface of the clipboard is covered in paper. But that would be really hard if you couldn't remove that clip to get it on there neatly around the clip. So Tim and his assistants, of course, engineered this piece so that it is totally removable. So I think we've told you that before, but I'm not sure if we've ever shown how to remove it. And I thought I would just give you an idea on how easy that is to do. So if you flip it over to the back, there are 2 little screws in the back, and you will need a really small screwdriver. And Jay, is this called a Phillips?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a Phillips screwdriver. It's the one that has the 4 little corners in it. You could probably use like eyeglass screwdrivers too. And you're just going to start by twisting the screw in the back, and it will start to loosen.
Lefty loosey.
Yeah, how does it go, Jay?
Lefty
loosey.
righty-tighty.
Okay, lefty loosey.
Righty.
Say it again. Righty tighty. So to loosen your screw, you're going to go to the left. So you can see here now, it's already come out. So I've loosened the first one, and then this little piece was on the front. That just came out. You don't want to lose those things. So if you've got your magnet tool, this is a good time to use it. So what did you say again? Lefty loosey, Jay?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to turn to the left. I just thought if we hadn't shown this before, and I don't remember if we have or not, it might be good because you don't need to be intimidated. I'm not the handiest of people when it comes to tools. Jay will vouch for that. But even I can do this. So once it starts to loosen, then you can just remove that plastic completely.
Yeah, it's getting caught up on the tape.
Yeah. There we go. And now it'll come right out for you. And now you can see that whole mechanism is totally removed. And once you have that done, then the surface of your clipboard is totally free, and you can put your paper on it without having to worry about cutting around that particular mechanism at the top. I thought that people might find it helpful to see that and see how easy it is. Don't be worried about that. And once you finish adding your paper, then you will cover over, of course, the 2 holes on the front. So then you're just going to take your scissors or something pokey, even your screwdriver, and just from the back, which is not covered in paper, just kind of poke through those 2 holes so that you can easily reattach the mechanism. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but you'll just put the clip on the front and then reattach the screws in the back and then on the front. It's super easy to do. Like I said, I'm not a handy person when it comes to tools, and even I can do this. So don't worry about that at all. So let me ask if there are any questions about that at all. And Pam, you're mentioning the ribbon in the top left. I absolutely love that ribbon. That is a seam binding ribbon, and I just think the color is absolutely beautiful. And all the credit in the world to Kelly and Diane, who picked out that ribbon to match the Remember collection. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Another tip that I will share with you, your instructions indicate that you're going to need either collage medium or matte medium to glue the paper to the project or to the clipboard. And I think both of those work great. So one tip that I learned from Maggie, and again, I'm not really one that does a lot of mixed media, but if you are in need of a distress brush, I would go ahead and buy one of the wider ones. And guess what the reason is? It's so that you can quickly apply your glue to your project without it drying. If you have a teeny tiny brush, like let's say half this wide, it's going to take you a long time to cover the surface of that. And what can happen in the meantime, according to Maggie, your glue can start to dry before you're ready to put your paper on. So get the widest brush that you can, and we do have this one linked, I believe, and I would say it's maybe an inch or a little bit more, so that you can go as fast as possible. The other tip that I'm going to share with you, again, coming from someone who doesn't do a ton of mixed media, when you get your paper on and it's all set, you're going to roll it with your brayer just to smooth it out, and then I like to flip it over and just let it dry. And sometimes I will weight it down with something heavy like a book, but you can tell when it's dry when you touch your paper and it is no longer cool. So it will feel room temperature. While it's still wet, it's going to remain a little bit cool. And that's a good indication that it's dry when it's no longer cool. So while you're waiting on your clipboard to dry, then that is the time to run off to your kitchen or your bathroom and clean your brush. You do not want the glue to stick in your brush. Trust me on that one. And clean off the lid of your collage medium so that you don't have a bunch of gunk on there. And just get all that taken care of and let that dry, because if the glue dries in your brush, then it's going to be problematic for you. So just take an opportunity to do that. Yes, Kelly, I totally agree. Being able to remove the clip is absolutely one of the best features of that clipboard. It makes it totally easy, and you're going to get very professional results by being able to do that. So good. So if there's no more questions about the clip or the collage medium and the brush, then let's move on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, the ribbon. This ribbon is a seam binding type ribbon, and I absolutely love it. We carry this in a lot of different colors, but there's just something about this gold color, I think, that's really, really rich, and it picks up the gold of the Remember paper. So Kelly and Diane, now that I'm here in Texas, they pick out my ribbon for me, and they always do a wonderful job selecting exactly what works perfectly. So I'm sure that we can link that, and if you have trouble finding it, just give us a call at the store and we'll be happy to cut that for you. But what I wanted to talk with you about is this fluffy bow over here. This is not just a simple single loop bow. It's one that has several loops in it. And again, I don't want you to be intimidated by this, because it's really easy to do once you see how it's done. So I thought I just grabbed some different colored ribbon, and I thought I would tie a bow for you with the fluffy loops, just to show everyone how that works. So let's pretend that the clipboard paper is on, and let's pretend that the clip is back in place. And I just grabbed some of this kind of teal colored seam binding, which is the same type of ribbon that we're using in our kit. Same type of ribbon, but it's a different color. I love this ribbon. So let me grab some scissors, because I think I forgot to get them. So you have in your kit 40 inches of ribbon. And the first thing that we want to do is tie a length of that ribbon around the left part of the clipboard, because that's where we want our bow to end up, over at the left, actually underneath the clip. So the first thing that we want to do is tie kind of an anchor over here. just to give us something to tie our bow onto, basically. And that doesn't need to be anything fancy. It's just going to be a length of ribbon. I'm going to cut off just a chunk of it to make it a little easier to work with. And we're just going to tie an overhand knot. And the important thing here is you want to leave your tails long, and because the tails are going to help you attach the ribbon bow, or the bow, to the ribbon anchor that you've just created. So I've just made a little overhand knot here, and I left my tails long. So that's easy peasy. So nothing fancy there. You can scoot it over if it needs to be a little bit closer to the clip, all of that. So now you've got a length of extra ribbon, and we gave you 40 inches, so that is plenty. You're going to take your, let's say, your non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to take my left hand, and I'm going to use that as my place to wrap the ribbon. And you can use 4 fingers, I've got small fingers, or you can use 3 fingers. And the more fingers you use, the bigger loop you're going to end up with, or the bigger bow. So I'm going to try 4 fingers. And I'm just going to start by laying the ribbon across the top of my hand, and the long part of the ribbon is underneath. And I'm just going to wrap around and around and around, and depending on how, if you spread your fingers apart, you can also add size to your loops. So I've gone around 3 times. I think I can go around 4 times. So now I've got 4 lengths of ribbon going around my fingers. And I'm just going to carefully slide it off my fingers and keep pinching it in the center. So now I've got like a little bundle of ribbon. Again, nothing fancy. It's just kind of pinched together in the middle. I'm going to lay it on top of my 2 tails that I kept. And this is where you could possibly benefit from a third hand. If you got a spouse in the area, get them to put their finger on it for you. And just quickly and very snugly tie that knotted ribbon around the bow bundle that you created. So now we have it secured. Now I can start to fluff it and start to work with it until it looks to my liking. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just tie another length to make sure that it doesn't get away from me. And I would probably just leave those tails long, just kind of cut them off, because that adds to the floof. And I'm going to cut these off. And now you can start to kind of separate those loops to kind of fluff them up. A fluffy bow is really easy to make, and you can see, you can just kind of mess with it all you want, and that's going to be really pretty when you put it on when you finish your project. So you see how easy it is to make a fluffy bow, not hard at all. Again, if you are scared of that, nothing to worry about. You can see how beautifully the seam binding ties. The gold seam binding that's in your kit is exactly the same as the teal that I just tied. It's just a different color. So you can just play with it until it works, to your liking, and you can make it as fluffy as you want. And like I said before, it depends on how many fingers you use, how big a bow you will end up getting. But you should be able to get at least 3 loops from the ribbon that we gave you. So let me ask if there are any questions, and hopefully that was helpful. Great. I'm going to just scroll back and make sure that I haven't missed anybody. Yeah, this is one of my favorite projects that I've made in a long time. So I'm super excited that you like it too. So I'm going to set this aside, and now I want to talk about one other feature of the project, and that is the photo corners. And here I'm going to see if I can find the layout that I knocked over earlier. Photo corners are really helpful if you are doing a scrapbook page where you think you might want to remove the photo later, or at least you are, you just want to make sure that you have access to it. And I brought over this layout just to show you how I've incorporated photo corners onto it. And we carry photo corners in a whole bunch of different colors, and I'm sure Kelly can link those for us. This happens to be the craft or the tan ones, which I really love because they kind of blend right into the photo. But we also carry them in black, and I used black photo corners on this particular project, and I thought I would show you how easy they are to use. But I love these because you can easily then remove the picture. And notice how the photo corners stay on the layout. My picture doesn't have any kind of adhesive behind it. It's not damaged in any way. And when I want to put it back, I can easily just slide it right back in to those existing photo corners. So if you want to start doing a heritage album, you definitely want to pick up packages of photo corners. They're super handy, and they allow you to be able to access your photos, read what's on the back, share a copy with a relative, that sort of thing. So for this project, I wanted to incorporate photo corners because I do think they sort of evoke that heritage feel. So I put on this sample just an indication of what size a photo would be accommodated, and that is a 3.5 by 2.5 inch photo. And then I added photo corners to it so that you would be able to lift your photo in and out. It's a little bit, not quite as easy as taking it off of a layout, but you can see it goes in very, very easily. And so this is a picture, this is my grandma, my mom's mom, and some of her high school friends. And that's her sister. And I absolutely love this picture. It was taken in the 1920s, and look at her dress. And she's got those, they all have those cool boots on. I think they look very modern, even though it was taken in the 20s. So that's how you could easily attach a photo and be able to remove it on this project. So you might be wondering, hey, how do I attach those photo corners and get them in the right place and all of that? And I thought I would show you because, again, this is a super, super easy thing to work with. So in your kit, you're going to get a strip of photo corners, and you will need 4 for this project. We gave you a couple extra in case of a mishap, but let's pretend this is your photo that you want to add to your project, and it's a little bit bigger than the one that's on here. I just grabbed a bigger piece of cardstock so it would show more easily. All you're going to do is take your picture, or maybe you even want to cut just a mat of cardstock like I did here. I cut a mat of cardstock and then I cut my picture a little bit smaller. And you're just going to pick up your photo corners and slide each corner of the photo into the photo corner. So it just slips on. The sticky part is on the back, and then you're going to do the same thing for the next one. You'd be surprised how fast this is. You just slide them right on, and it just lifts right off. Oops, just lifts right off the carrier sheet. And the last one. So now you've got 4 photo corners in place, and they're sticky on the back. I don't have any adhesive on the back of my photo. I just have to lay it down on my surface. And this could be a scrapbook page, it could be this project, whatever you're working on. And by pressing down the photo corners, now you've got adhesive just in the corner. And you can easily then remove this photo, and the corners remain in place. And now let's say I want to put the photo back. All I have to do is slide the corners back into the photo corners. It's really as easy as that. So again, don't be intimidated by photo corners. I know at first when I started using photo corners, I thought, well, golly, how do I get them on the page in the right, spacing? Well, that's not the approach at all. All you have to do is attach them to your actual photo, stick it down, the photo corners stay in place, and then you can easily remove your photo. So I just think this is such a great way to attach any heritage photo or any photo that you want to see what's written on the back, or that sort of thing. And I hope that was helpful for you guys to see. Again, it's really actually easier than you'd think. So let me make sure that we don't have any questions about that. Great. Oh, thank you, Kelly, for linking the photo mats. This is we have some pre-made photo mats that are useful for all kinds of projects, and we've got them in various different sizes. We use them in the recipe project that I showed you earlier, and you could use them on any type of let's say you were making a mini album as a gift, or a full-size scrapbook album as a gift. The photo mats that are pre-printed would be so nice to include. They already have all of this information on them, and if you cut your photo to 3x4, you'll have a perfectly sized mat. So your photo actually fits inside the line, and it gives you the mat. So it's sort of a mat and a photo placement all in one. So that is all that I wanted to show you about the photo corners. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh yes, let's talk about the bonus project. And let me grab it. I'm gonna step around here and grab something else. Okay, so in your kit, you will also have some extra paper, and you'll be able to make a small coaster project to go along with your clipboard. And I think just having the two of those together, like I showed you earlier in the vignette, makes a really nice display. And I'm not going to go into great detail of this, but because Maggie has shown you how to cover a coaster. But this is basically a 4x4 coaster. You're going to cut a 4x4 piece of your extra paper in the kit. It does not have to be precisely sized, because you are going to go around it after it's glued on with your sanding tool. And you're going to remove all of the excess. You can do it on the corners. You don't have to use a corner rounder. Just go all the way around it. And what that will do is reveal a nice white edge. And you can leave that edge white, or you can add ink to it. So that's a really simple process. If you've never added paper to a coaster, you're going to use the same procedure and the same collage medium or matte medium that you used for the clipboard. And then once that's done, what I would suggest, if you don't want to use photo corners, you don't have quite enough in your kit to use 4 photo corners, you could use 2 on here, or you could pick up a pack of photo corners. And this particular project was designed to accommodate one of these 2.5 by 3.5 heritage type photos. You could use a copy here and then add your embellishments like so. Or if you want to leave this open for someone to add a photo later, you would just leave the adhesive off of this part of the embellishment, so you could easily slide a photo underneath. But the size of the picture is one that if you are working with heritage photos and you already have some in your possession, this is the size that many photos from like the 40s and 50s are sized at. So you should have no trouble finding a picture of that size. If you want to use something more current, you can always resize it on your computer and print it out a little bit smaller. So once you've added your photo, and again, you can use a copy or use photo corners, then you can add in your always piece, which is part of the ephemera, and then one of the butterflies and a couple of the hearts. So that's simple to make. It makes a nice little companion piece to your clipboard. And one other thing that I forgot to mention, there is a really nice little label in the packet of page pieces that you are going to get with your project. And I wanted to use the back as a space to sign and date my project. And I always think that's a nice little thing to do. I didn't even cover the back of the clipboard with paper because it's already a really nicely finished surface. But if you wanted to pick up an extra sheet of paper and do that, you sure could. But instead, I added this label and an additional piece of ephemera plus a heart to the back side. And this is where you would, as the artist, sign and date this piece. And I always think that is a nice thing to do because in years to come, you probably forget exactly when you made this, and someone else might see it and want to know, gosh, did mom make this or did grandma make this? So it would be really nice to have your name and the date on the back of it. So this gives you a spot to do that. So I think, let me just double check my notes and make sure that there's nothing else that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I think we've pretty much covered it. Again, this kit includes both the clipboard and the bonus project coaster, and both are online today and they are $29.99. So I think you'll really enjoy this project. And let me just give you a hint. We have lots more Remember type memorial projects yet to come this month, and we'll be launching a couple of additional ones with this particular line, this Remember line. I have just finished a card kit, beautiful, beautiful paper and super fun to work with, that makes 8 cards, and that will be available hopefully, I want to say maybe next week. And then also a flip frame. A while back, Peggy made a flip frame project using Winnie the Pooh. This will be a flip frame using the Remember project, or the Remember collection, and I think you're going to enjoy that as well. So if you wanted to make a vignette that had the clipboard and the flip frame and the coaster all together, I think it would make a really beautiful display. So just a heads up, those 2 things are coming. We also have our, we have another card kit coming at the end of the month. Kelly, can I tell that? I guess I just did. We have a card kit coming with the In Loving Memory collection by Photoplay, which is sort of a beautiful blue and taupe collection. And that will be launched at the end of April when I'm back in Iowa. And golly, we have a lot of other things going on too for the month of April. And it's a great time to think about and remember those who have gone before us and make a project to memorialize them. So I think, Kelly, do we have anything else? Let me just double check with headquarters here. The ephemera for this project happens to be the page pieces. And you guys, this is the first time I've worked with the page pieces. And look, I used almost all of them. I think I have 3 left. So the page pieces are a little bit larger, and they are $3.99. They include some really beautiful pieces that I felt were just exactly the right size for the clipboard. So I decided to use the page pieces instead of the ephemera, and I am loving them. But like I said, I used almost all of them. So, but you know, you could eke out something else, I think, with this. You could probably make a tag or something. So let's see if we have any other. Yeah, Lisa, thank you. I love this particular collection. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So Kelly, back in headquarters, are we good to go? I think we're all right. Like I said before, I'm excited for the weekend, and I'm looking forward to getting out in the yard and gardening a little bit. And I'm going to have Jay take the camera out of the mount so I can say goodbye to you guys. Like I said before, it's beautiful weather this weekend in Texas, and we are super excited to spend some time in our backyard, and hopefully I can see my daughter, which is one of the reasons we're here, and we'll get out and do a little digging in the dirt. So that's my plan for the weekend. Hope you guys have some crafty time as well, and we will see you back here on Monday. Thanks for joining us.